What's up, fight fans? This is Kirk DeVille with Counter Punch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning John Fury, Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, and Francis Ngannou. John was asked who gives Tyson the harder fight between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. And the father of the Gypsy King, John Fury, has had his say regarding who would give the harder fight between the heavyweight champion Usyk and long-term British rival Joshua. And this is what he said. He said, "What, together on the same night? No contest. The two together couldn't even put up a fight." From what I've seen, Tyson would play with them. They are just not good enough. There is levels to this game. I've said it before. They're down here and Tyson's up here. He'll prove it. I'm not just saying it because I'm his father or because he's the world champion. I'm saying it as it stacks up. He's just too good for them. Unless I see somebody out there that's extraordinary, I will be the first to let you know. I'll say, hang on. There is his nemesis. There is his dancing partner. Those are the words of John Fury, and let me counterpunch. He said that his son, Tyson Fury, will beat both Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk on the same night. And he will prove it. That's what we want to talk about, because the rest is just talk. Well, it's all talk, but he said something interesting about proving it. Well, the question, Mr. John Fury, when is your son ever going to prove it? What, when Alexander Usyk has fought every mandatory for the next year or two, while your son fights exhibitions with Francis Ngannou? Or will Anthony Joshua get knocked out by somebody else, or should I say beaten by somebody else, and then you'll want to fight him, and then you will claim that you're the best at that point? Because this is what I see between the two people that we're discussing, Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. Joshua is a guy that he's fought a lot of people. He was the unified champion. And when you're the unified champion, that comes with a lot of stress, it comes with a lot of pressure, and it comes with a lot of challenges. Okay, between mandatories and voluntaries, it's a great deal. It's a challenge. Alexander Usyk is knowing what that's about as well. However, your son, John, has never fought but one mandatory, and that was Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte has been knocked out twice, okay? And, and it's to the point where you look at your opposition of your son hasn't even done what these two guys are doing or have done. Joshua defended those titles for what? How long? From 2018 to 19. He got it back. He lost it in 19, got it back, 2020, then 2021. So roughly about 3 years he had the belts. Your son didn't have the belts but 2 weeks. Okay? He dropped every one of them. He started snorting coke. He started drinking like a fish. He started partying like an animal. And he sat on his ass and got fat for the next 2 years after that. So, again, your son doesn't even know what it's like to do the job at hand. You know, John's talking as though, well, there's nobody out there that can fight his son, he says. Well, your son hasn't fought anyone else either. Derek Chisora for a third time. Come on, bro. That's laughable at this point. People looked at that fight and they wondered, you know, everyone, oh, yeah, it's good for Derek Chisora. He got a couple mil, but it's not really good for the sport because he should have fought. He should have fought somebody that was challenging at least. He ducked Joe Joyce. People forget about that. The only people that talk, they don't talk about Joe Joyce now because Joe Joyce was silenced by Zhilei Zhang. But understand, Zhilei Zhang is not Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, when he saw his buddy, Joseph Parker, get stopped by Joe Joyce, I think at that point he knew that I'm not messing with Joe Joyce because there's nothing that I can do to Joe Joyce to stop Joe Joyce. See, I can hit Wilder a couple times upside the head and he can go down. I can hit Dillian White with an uppercut and Dillian White can go out like a light because that's his kryptonite. Bars. But I can't do anything with a guy that keeps coming and keeps throwing. And he ducked him. But since he got beat, everybody goes, oh, well, Tyson would have beat him too. That's the type of shit we're dealing with because we're dealing with these casuals that really need to be educated. That's the whole purpose of the channel. To educate people that think they know shit and they don't. They might like boxing to a certain degree, but they even haven't scratched the surface of what it really is about. What boxing is about is two fighters fighting each other with the styles and the skills that they possess. Hit without being hit, show ring generalship, and try to get the knockout or the points win in the best possible way. That's boxing. Oh yeah, and try not to get killed too. That's boxing. Not seeing two guys fight each other and then these two guys in the ring with each other to say another guy will beat these two guys that never fought these two guys and that guy has beat somebody else that never fought these two guys. That makes no sense at all. So let's say Usyk is A, Joshua's B, okay? And you're looking at Tyson Fury C and Deontay Wilder D. Okay, well, if A and B has fought each other and C and D has fought each other and A beats B, so everybody will say, oh, well, C, which is Tyson Fury, will beat A or B without fear fighting A or B. It's retarded. Just because C beat D. What the hell does C have to do with D? They don't. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder have nothing to do with Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. In fact, I was watching all of these fights with my dad one day, and he was like, well, nobody's going to beat that guy from the Ukraine. I can see the way he moves. Nobody's going to beat him. He's going to be a problem for everybody. And my dad saw that, but my dad used to box as well. But he saw it. Okay, and I watched the fight before I made the channel. I watched him with my cousin and I watched him with my father, right? And those were the guys that I watched boxing with mostly, and my uncle too, down the stretch. But Uncle C, you guys know Uncle C. But it just baffles me how people, and a lot of casuals will say, oh man, well Tyson Fury will beat both of those guys. And now what everybody's saying, they're already saying, oh, well, Dubois already beat Alexander Usyk, which he didn't. Okay? So why should I fight him? He did the same thing with Joe Joyce. He did the same thing with Anthony Joshua. Tyson Fury is one of those guys, oh, well, I claim to be the best and I only beat one guy. So if you beat one guy and sit back and watch and wait for other fighters to get beat by other fighters and you don't fight none of them, how are you the best? I mentioned this in one of my earlier videos today. However, I'm a little bit more calm. I've had some rest. But I want to know about John Fury. I want to know his mouth is backing up what his son's going to do. Okay, because he said his son is going to go in there and prove it. Well, my question is how and when? How and when is he going to prove it? And these guys are really full of shit because they know that if they keep fighting these guys, somebody will get beat. And for Tyson Fury saying, I'm not really interested in fighting anybody else because they're not good enough. Well, fighting MMA fighters, you think you're going to be good enough. And I look at it like this. Tyson Fury, this is my message to you. If you think that you're just the pinnacle of boxing without fighting boxers, wonderful. Retire, quit, give up the fucking belt, give it back to Mauricio. Let him try to talk you back into it because he really don't want to see the best. He wants to see his 3%. Okay? Stop boxing and get your ass in the cage. Get in the cage and start fighting these guys, wrestling you, because, yeah, you're good at hugging and headlocking and shit like that. We've seen you do that in fights. So let's see how good you are in the cage, because you've totally just mastered a whole sport without fighting any of these guys in that sport, which is dumb. You fought Vladimir Klitschko in 2015, early 2015. You take a 3-year layoff, you fight Wilder in 18. Then you beat Wilder again. Then you beat Wilder again. And you call yourself the best. You can't make this shit up, people. But you guys tell me what you think about John Fury rating Anthony Joshua or Alexander Usyk fighting his son. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!